Hello, I'm Tim Linsdau. I'm a video producer, Christian. Today I'd like to talk about leadership. What is the definition of leadership? What does that mean? Well, it could be a single person or it could be a group of people guiding one or many. And that's a big area. What do you mean guiding? Probably maybe one of the more dangerous things a person might do in trying to help others. Number one is probably humility. Being humble in spirit, a contrite spirit, as the Bible says. That's important. Because why are you leading in the first place? Is it something you forced your way into? Or did people ask you to do that? I don't know if I've done both. I know I've been asked many times to lead. At times I've felt inadequate. At times I've felt empowered by it, excited by it. But then you realize you're responsible. You have become part of something bigger than you are, and now you're responsible. How are you going to deal with that responsibility? You're going to have to remain humble. If you think more of yourself or that you're really someone, you're actually nothing. You have to approach leadership as a servant. It's a servant position. That is what you actually are. The greater servant in that position, to lead. To think of others, you need to be thinking of others at all times. How am I helping them? One of the things as a leader, you have to be able to share the load. If you try to carry that load, try to carry everything, you'll be ineffective. You may burn out, you may act as a poor example because of that. But you bring others into the fold, especially with people that you can well adapt to, that fit your personality. You can see who'll be helpful. Because someday you're going to want to teach them to advance and to learn to replace you. That's very important in leadership. Something I learned about leadership is that, again, humility is very important. But ability without honor has no value. So while you're there, honor has to be number one in everything you do. We can see in the news every day somebody in leadership who's failed, got caught up in the world of things, stole money, hurt others. It's amazing what Satan can do with your mind. Get you thinking that you're greater than you really are. Again, that goes back to being a good and faithful servant. Ask for God's guidance. The trials will be many as a leader. You think you'd be really helping a lot of people, giving them some good guidance and leadership, and then you find out they resent you for whatever reason, and it can be a shock. It can be disturbing, but that's the way the world is. Envy is a terrible thing. And that takes you back to that humility, to seek the best for others, to be a good neighbor to your friends and family and others. It's a very important part of leadership. There's a transition time in leadership where you're going to be following another leader. And they have a different personality, a different leadership style. And one has to be careful if you're leading the same group as to how you approach that. And again, I think that deals with being humble. Some not so good things might have happened with the other leader, and you're going to have to deal with those, be confronted by those. But you're in a servant position, remember. You're serving others. Virtue is the key to leadership. Set a good example, because everybody will be looking at you, and they're looking at you to lead. And that's extremely important. Poor leadership can hurt people in more number of ways. Amazingly, that poor leadership is recognizable, but people can get caught up in thinking, well, if they can do it, I can do it too. And that is not only very poor leadership, but a very poor discernment of what's happened. It not only wrecks the leadership guidance position that you're in, but it can be morally depraved. One has to be really careful about that. There are others in the past we've seen in leadership that had developed cults, and people have followed them blindly to disaster. So one must be careful. You know, your worldview colors the way you look at everything. Now, what is a worldview? It can be a standard, a science of how you look at things. There's a lot of argument in the Bible over creation. Science versus the Bible, but it's not a versus issue. It can be made that way. But it's important to understand that a person that comes at you from, well, we've seen a lot of issues with terrorism, extremism, extreme religious positions that have caused great strife in the world. And these people are coming at you and others with a certain world view. And one needs to discern that. It's going to make them extreme. Now, there's minor worldviews about many different things about the way we think, about how we're going to help others, how we want to guide others, that type of thing. But I think you have to remember to come back to humility. That's so important. Train others to follow you is very important. That's part of it. Be ready for every good work. That's really what you're seeking to do, is to be a good person, a good servant, a good neighbor to others. Because in leadership, as I said before, you become a guide. And there are many people who have been in the wilderness, who have been guided improperly, that didn't survive. And that's again a poor example of leadership in guiding people into disaster. It's a terrible thing. Leadership is again a burden. I've been in many positions where the leadership seemed very easy, dependent on who I was working with. If they were all very talented and very interested and concerned about what they were doing, and you allow them to do the work. You don't micromanage them. You tell them what you need, tell them what you want, and let them run with it and guide them as they go. You have to let them feel like they're important, because they are. Because without their help, you're not going to be successful. Nobody can carry all the ball all by themselves. Just like in a basketball game, it takes a team to win. It's very important. It's a team effort in leadership. I've been called to leadership and things I did not feel I was 100% prepared for. But people choose you, and if you trust their judgment, their experience, and their past has been successful, they're choosing you usually for a good reason, because they see something in you that can be a benefit to a lot of others. And that's really important. It can give you the confidence to carry on. You still need to learn a lot. And that takes us to the point of being open to others, to learn and to trust. That's very important to help you in that leadership. And then you can help others by trusting them in their work. As a leader, when you are in position of delegating activities or other jobs to do, if you will, help them out. Help them to learn, give them success, and make sure they're succeeding. It's very important. Well, thank you for this time. I'm Tim Linsdau, and please like and comment on my videos and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.